falling in love with the prostitute you hired for one night.
Ooh, Yaoi review.
Hi everybody, it's Corbin, and today I'm here to talk to you about Say Please by Kano Miyamoto. I'll read the back and we'll delve into the nitty-gritty. I was a boy at the club, and he was my client. Sakura first meets Ryoichi at a male brothel and buys him for the night. As their supposed one-night stand ends up becoming a somewhat stable, monetary-based relationship, their lives start to change. Can these two awkward people garner the courage to admit that their true feelings run deeper than merely sex and money? This includes a bonus story in which Ryu is a tough but troubled kid from Osaka who's trying to overcome his past when an American takes an interest in him. Will it lead to more than just a friendship? This is rated M for mature or 18+, and it's published by Do. Now, let's delve into it. Art style-wise, I mean, it's not my favorite. It just feels really kind of disjointed. I have to really double check. The proportions aren't that great. The art style does convey emotion, and it does work as a vessel for the story, so it doesn't hurt it. It's just not my favorite. I find myself more or less wondering why it's drawn in this style, but you eventually evolve past it. It just feels awkward in the very beginning. Plotline-wise, we have a prostitute who is falling in love with his client and vice versa. The two have a hard time, well, the client has a hard time admitting that he's falling in love with the prostitute. But they end up living together, they end up evolving together, and forming a career that's non-adult related. They end up, he becomes an archaeologist, and the client becomes an archaeologist, and the prostitute becomes a professional photographer for the archaeology department at the university. So it all ends happy. It's a very good story. It does feel a little awkward from time to time. It does feel a little convoluted, but then again, it happens, and there are a lot of interesting little plot bubbles, but it is what it is. I mean, it feels very standard high school teacher, just esque drama in there too. And none of that makes sense because I'm trying not to give the entire plot away. But trust me, it explains the entire scenario if you read it. Now, the second story is actually my favorite of the two. That one does... I'm trying to think of a polite way to put it. That one starts off with a student who obviously isn't very happy. He looks very glum. He looks very sad. He looks very much so like he hates his life. And he ends up randomly one, stormy night meeting an American who lives, a block away from him, who is stationed in Okinawa and lives in the town where the kid is. And they become friends. He finds out that the soldier is gay, and that's the reason he stayed in Japan. And they remain friends. The boy finds it odd and awkward. And then we see this whole bunch of drama play out at the kid's school. It turns out the boy is actually a murderer. He has killed someone in his past. And he sees a therapist as well as does community service. And it turns out that he had killed somebody in self-defense. And he feels super guilty about it and has suicidal thoughts. And the American makes an offer of the kid's lifetime to take him to the US so he can be a kid. He can not be victimized and he can be allowed to evolve past, in essence, something he couldn't avoid to keep himself alive. So, yeah, that one ends really odd. The boy doesn't take the opportunity to go to America. He stays in Japan with his dad, and they move to Tokyo to where hopefully it won't haunt his son forever. It's an interesting little story, but it's my favorite out of the two. The title story is good, but I find the bonus story better. So if you guys have read this before, let me know down in the comment section below. Shoot me a like, a favorite, subscribe, share this with a friend who likes Yaoi, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Do you like what you see? Then...
subscribe!